Hi everyone, how you doing? This is John Bernard from B.A.C.E Foundation. Hope you're well and hope you're keeping safe. Here at B.A.C.E Foundation, we're focused on pushing you towards a journey of self-discovery so you can unravel the potential inside you and therefore create the right habits that will enable you to live a purposeful life and leave the right legacy. Well, thank you for tuning in. We've decided to do some short motivational midweek videos just to keep you inspired and keep you driven. The videos will be really short and sweet. It will just be a word of encouragement accompanied by a spoken word. And we've decided to call this series The Fact That It's Wednesday. Fantastic. And today being episode 1, the fact that it's Wednesday should cause you to Fosbury flop. What do I mean by Fosbury flop? Let me take you back to the 1968 Olympics, which were held in Mexico City, where something special happened. A young high jumper under the name of Dick Fosbury approached the bar, which was set at a record height of 7 foot 4 inches. Now, prior to this moment, the usual way for high jumpers to cross the bar was to have their bodies parallel to it. It was a technique called the Western roll. And there were many techniques before this. You had the straddle, you had the scissors, and the high jumpers were basically doing things that worked for them. Any technique that worked to overcome that bar, they would do it. And young Dick, he wasn't your usual athlete. He was very tall, very slim, but he wasn't that good, right? But once he discovered the high jump, he was persistent and he was determined to be the best that he could be at this event. And when he first started, he was diabolical. He was poor. Right, the opening height was about 5 foot 4 inches, and he couldn't do it. And he established himself as the worst high jumper in his high school and potentially in his whole state. That's how bad he was, right? But he didn't give up. Now, most of us at that stage would have probably quit. If you're known as the worst in your school for a particular sport or a particular subject, or in fact the worst in your city, most likely you'd be like, you know what, nah, this is not for me, right? But Dick didn't quit. He was persistent. And he had that foresight. He knew what he wanted to do, and he knew how great he wanted to be. So, let's fast forward now to the 1968 Olympics. Young Fosbury is faced with the bar set at a record height of 7 foot 4 inches, and he's pumping himself up, ready to cross this bar. There's over 80,000 people watching him at this given moment, and he takes off. Now, when he takes off, right, people were expecting him to do the scissors or the straddle or the conventional Western roll like everyone else was doing. But Dick did something different, right? He turns his back on the bar, lifts his legs up and flips backwards and crosses the bar. And everyone's marveled. What did this kid just do? Well, this kid just went on to set a new world record and win a gold medal just by thinking differently from all the other athletes, right? And his method of jumping became commonly known as the Fosbury flop, which is still being used today over 50 years later. It's incredible, right? So what can we take from this story in the times that we're currently in? How we see things determines how we react to those things, right? Our thoughts towards a given situation determines how we react to that situation. It's like when people saw darkness, Thomas Edison had a light bulb moment, okay? Now, when Dick was practicing, before the Olympics, his coaches used to tell him, stick to the program, right? In essence, what they were trying to say to him was, hey, listen, do what everyone else is doing. Why are you making a fool out of yourself? Why are you trying to do something that's never been done before, okay? Why don't you just think like everyone else is thinking? Thankfully, young Fosbury did not listen to his coaches. And because of this, he ended up winning, a gold medal and setting a new world record just by thinking differently and thinking the opposite from how people expected him to think. And we're in a situation where maybe you feel like things have been a flop, and we're in a situation where we've never faced this type of situation before. And maybe things are hard and maybe you haven't utilized the time as much as you wanted to build yourself up. And or maybe you just miss your friends and it's been a lonely time. Like somebody said, we're all in the same storm, but we're not all in the same boat. You know what type of situation that you're in, and you know what things you deal with on a day-to-day basis. I need you to look at your situation differently, and like I said before, perception is so important. I need you to think about your situation differently, and I want you to remember the words of young Fosbury. He said something. He said, when he was practicing and when he was trying to come up with this new technique, he wasn't trying to create something that was revolutionary. He wanted to create something that will allow him to cross the bar, to get over the bar. That's all he wanted to do, was just to get over that that bar, right? And tomorrow's uncertain, right? So I need you to try and get over today. I need you to try to do what you can today. Focus on today. Focus on being the best that you can be today. Focus on creating, daily habits that will enable you to build yourself, build your potential, create the right habits that will enable you to push you forward, even in this time. I need you to draw from the intrinsic well of your imagination and start thinking with foresight in, how do you want to come out of this situation. Young Fosbury sold that bar, and he said, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes to get over that bar. And that whatever it takes means, one day you might fall, one day you might not feel as great as the next day or the day before, or one day you might feel like doing nothing, and the other days you might be as productive as heck. But it's during this time period, during failure, you learn to be the best you. Okay, so just a word of encouragement: be the best you, work hard, utilize the day, utilize the time, be the best that you can be, think differently, think the opposite, do what you can do in these times. Thank you so much for listening. So we're just going to finish off with a spoken word. Hope you enjoy it. Keep subscribing, keep commenting, keep letting us know what subjects you want us to talk about, and thank you again for tuning in. How can you turn this flop of a time into something significant? I know you had plans, a sense of control, and now you feel like a participant. Wondering who's in charge of this study, you no longer want to be part of this predicament. I understand. But sorrow has a way to refine the soul, by allowing us to be grateful for things which have never crossed our minds before. A quarantine haircut makes you appreciate the barbers. Understanding there's more to life allows you to think about the mistakes you've harbored. And maybe these mistakes have kept you from reaching further. Facing our minds brings us face to face with ourselves, as we begin to grab a hold of all the issues we placed on our mental shelf. Social distancing has shown us the effect a touch has on our mental health. And loneliness has highlighted our true friends who called us to check we're well. The times are hard, we're in this storm, but all in different boats, and I know you're hoping that your dinghy sails. So I need you to draw from the intrinsic well of your imagination and see what isn't as if it were. Fosbury flop, think the opposite, think positive till all this is blurred.